I never planned on coming back to this town. Not after everything that happened. Not after the kind of betrayal that leaves a mark even time struggles to erase. But life has a strange way of pulling you toward places you once ran from. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's painful, and sometimes it arrives like a soft whisper you don't understand until you follow it. That whisper brought me here. The morning air was cool when I stepped off the bus, carrying nothing but a small bag and a heart that felt heavier than anything I owned. The sky above was gray, the kind of gray that sits quietly, waiting to open into rain. Even the streets looked the same. Narrow, cracked, half asleep. As if they hadn't moved forward since the day I left. 7 years. 7 long years. I walked slowly, almost afraid the ground would remember me. Shops I used to visit stood in the same places, some with new signs, some with faded ones. People walked by, none recognizing me, and honestly, I preferred it that way. I wasn't ready to explain my return. I wasn't ready to answer questions that would touch wounds I had only recently managed to close. When I reached the old cafe near the station, my steps stopped on their own. It was still there. Still the same wooden door, the same plants and chipped pots, the same old bell that rang whenever someone pushed inside. The cafe was a small, warm place in a town that could often feel cold. I used to spend Sunday mornings here, laughing with friends, writing in my notebook, dreaming big dreams I didn't know would someday turn into dust. I hesitated for a moment, but something inside me nudged gently. Go in. So I did. As soon as the door opened, a soft bell chimed, and a warm smell of coffee and baked bread wrapped around me like an old blanket. The wooden walls were still decorated with the same photos, school events, local festivals, sunsets over the river. The lights were warm and dim, making the room feel safe, almost untouched by time. I breathed in slowly. Nothing had changed. Except me. I walked toward the counter, ordered a plain coffee, the same drink I used to get, and turned around to find a seat. And then I froze. My heart stopped mid-beat. She was standing there. Sarah, my sister. The same sister who once braided my hair before school, who shared my room, my clothes, my secrets, and who eventually stole the one person I trusted most, my husband. Her hair was shorter now, cut above her shoulders, and she wore a thick sweater as if she was always cold. There were faint wrinkles around her eyes, shadows that looked like years of sleepless nights. But her posture was still the same. Chin slightly lifted, back straight, that old confidence she carried like armor. For a moment, neither of us moved. All the noise in the cafe faded, the clinking cups, the soft chatter, the grinding machine. It all blurred until the only sound left was my heartbeat, slow but heavy, filling my ears like a distant drum. Her eyes widened, and her mouth parted slightly. She looked like she had seen a ghost. Maybe she had. I gave her a small, polite smile. Nothing big, nothing bitter, just controlled. Hello, Sarah. Her breath hitched. I didn't know you were back. I didn't know either, I replied, lifting my cup. It just happened. She nodded too quickly, like she didn't know what else to do with her hands, or her face, or her guilt. Her eyes kept moving to my clothes, my hair, my expression, searching for the woman she once knew. Maybe searching for cracks. Maybe searching for the old me who would break at the mere sight of her. But that woman didn't exist anymore. Her voice came out soft. You look different. Different. A simple word, but it held years of pain, healing, fear, and growth. I said. People change. She swallowed, her throat tightening visibly. Guilt flickered in her eyes, quick but there. The last time we stood this close, I was crying, begging her to tell me the truth. And she had stood silent, letting my world fall apart without lifting a finger to stop it. Now she looked at me with something I had never seen from her before, uncertainty. Sit with me? She asked suddenly, almost breathlessly. Her voice wasn't confident anymore. It felt fragile, careful. For a moment I considered saying no, walking away, protecting myself. But something in me wanted to look at her, wanted to look straight into the eyes of the woman who once thought she had taken everything from me. So I nodded. Okay. We sat by the window, the same corner we used to fight over as kids. Rain had begun to fall outside, lightly tapping the glass. It sounded like a soft warning, like memories knocking on old doors. She kept glancing at me, her fingers fidgeting around her cup. "You just came back today?" she asked. "Yes. For how long? I'm not sure." Silence stretched between us, not the comfortable kind we once shared. This silence felt heavy, full of things she didn't dare to say, and things I no longer needed to hear. 7 years ago we were best friends. Sisters who planned each other's birthdays, who stayed up talking about life, who promised to protect each other no matter what. Then everything ended the day I found out she had betrayed me in the deepest, most personal way. I didn't bring it up. I didn't ask about him. I didn't ask about their life together, or whether they were happy, or whether the guilt ever kept her awake at night. I just watched her struggle with her own conscience. She took a slow breath. "You disappeared after everything." "I didn't disappear," I corrected softly. "I just left." She nodded, looking down into her cup. "Right, after everything happened." Her voice broke on the last word, and I saw her shoulders tense. She couldn't even say it out loud. I didn't help her. I let her sit with her discomfort, her confusion, her fear, because for the first time in years, she wasn't in control, and I wasn't the weak one. "Can I ask," she whispered, "why you came back?" I looked out the window. The rain had grown stronger, sliding down the glass in long, tired lines. "There's someone I'm meeting," I said simply. She blinked. Hard. "Someone?" she repeated, a slight tremble in her voice, like that one word carried a threat she wasn't prepared for. I nodded. Yes. She looked away quickly, chewing her lip, her hands shaking just slightly. Something inside her was shifting, a fear, a secret, a truth she didn't want to face. And for the first time I realized something important. My presence scared her, not because of the past, but because she knew I wasn't the same woman she broke. And she didn't know what that meant for her. Outside the rain kept falling, calm, steady, cleansing. Inside I took another sip of coffee, steady and unbothered. I had returned, and nothing about this moment felt like defeat. It felt like the beginning. Rain whispered softly against the cafe windows as Sarah and I sat across from each other. The soft light above us cast a warm glow, but it couldn't cover the tension sitting thick between us. It felt like a layer of unseen fog, heavy, confusing, and cold in places where warmth should have been. Sarah kept stirring her coffee, though she wasn't drinking it. Her spoon clinked against the cup over and over, a metallic sound cutting through the quiet hum of the cafe. She was nervous. I could feel it. And strangely, I wasn't. For years I feared this moment. Seeing her again, facing the past we never talked about, listening to excuses or apologies that came too late. But now that I was finally here, I felt calmer than I expected. Almost distant, like I had stepped into a memory but wasn't part of it anymore. Her eyes flicked up to me. "You really came back." I nodded. "Yes." She forced a smile. It was thin, shaky, like she was scared to show her real thoughts. "I always wondered if you would," she said. "After everything happened, I thought you would stay away forever." I leaned back, letting her words settle. There was a time when even hearing her voice would have caused pain, a sharp pain that lived behind my ribs, constant and silent. But now, it didn't hurt. Not the way she wanted it to. "I needed space," I said simply. "I needed time." Sarah swallowed hard. "I understand." I raised an eyebrow. "Do you?" She flinched slightly, her gaze moving away from mine. She looked out the window instead, as if the rain could answer for her. But the rain just kept falling, soft and steady, washing the world outside but not the world between us. "I know I made mistakes," she whispered. Her voice cracked, barely audible. For a second, guilt touched her face. Real guilt, not the shallow kind people show when they want forgiveness without earning it. But I didn't respond. I waited. She eventually sighed. "You must hate me." "No," I said quietly. "I don't hate you." Her head snapped up, confusion flickering in her eyes. She didn't expect that. "I'm not angry, Sarah. Not anymore." She studied me carefully, as if trying to understand what was happening inside me, what had changed, who I had become. But she couldn't. She still saw me through the eyes of the past, not the present. It doesn't mean I forgot, I added. My voice was calm, too calm. I just don't carry it. Her lips trembled. She blinked fast, as if trying to keep tears from forming. I know I hurt you, she whispered. Hurt. That word was too small for what she did. But I didn't correct her. I didn't try to explain the nights I cried until my chest ached, the mornings I woke up with no strength left, or the months I spent trying to understand how someone who shared my blood could betray me so deeply. She didn't deserve those memories. She didn't deserve access to that pain. I wish I could fix it, she said. You can't, I replied. But that's okay. The honesty in my voice seemed to shake her more than anger ever could. She finally took a sip of her coffee, though her hands trembled. You look different, she said softly. Like a whole new person. I am. She nodded slowly. A better version? A stronger one. Her eyes dropped instantly. There it was. The thing she was scared of. Not my anger, not my sadness, my strength. Because the stronger I was, the weaker her choices looked. The more obvious her guilt became. 7 years ago, she chose a path built on betrayal. And she had expected me to stay broken beneath it, but I didn't. Silence filled the space between us again, but it was different this time. Thicker, heavier, filled with unspoken things pressing on both of us. After a long moment, she spoke again. Do you ever think about him? She asked quietly. Ah, him. The man who promised he loved me. The man who taught me what betrayal felt like. The man she chose over her own sister. Once, his name could tighten my chest like a rope. Now it felt like saying the name of someone I used to know a long, long time ago. I kept my eyes steady on hers. No. She looked startled. Not at all? No, I said simply. He isn't part of my life anymore. She looked as if she didn't know whether to be relieved or hurt. Maybe she expected me to still be carrying pieces of him. Maybe she wanted to believe that taking him from me was a victory. But it wasn't. It was the beginning of her own downfall. She looked down, tracing the rim of her cup with her finger. We went through a lot, she murmured. I didn't answer. I didn't care. And things weren't always easy, she said. Her voice was softer now, almost defeated. We fought more than anyone knows. Some days... She paused. Some days I wondered if we made the right choice. For the first time, she let a piece of truth slip through, and it wasn't pretty. I didn't react. I let her sit in it. She exhaled shakily. I know I should have talked to you back then. I know I should have handled everything differently. There's no point thinking about it now, I replied. The past is done. She nodded, but her eyes kept searching for something. Maybe forgiveness, maybe understanding, maybe permission to feel less guilty about what she did. But I wasn't giving her any of that. As the rain outside grew heavier, the cafe grew quieter. The couple at the corner left, the barista wiped down the counter, and the air turned warmer with the smell of fresh pastries. Sarah leaned back in her chair and studied me again, more seriously this time. You said you're meeting someone? She asked. Yes. Who? I sipped my coffee, letting her question hang in the air for a few seconds. Someone important, I answered. She froze. Her shoulders stiffened, her smile faded, and her eyes darkened just a little. Almost like she recognized a threat she couldn't name. Oh, she whispered. That's nice. But the word nice sounded forced, too careful, too deliberate. Her fingers wrapped around the handle of her cup, gripping it so tightly her knuckles turned pale. You're with someone now? She asked cautiously. There it was, the question she really wanted to ask, the fear she was trying to hide behind small talk. I didn't answer directly. Not yet. I said I'm meeting someone, I said. That's all. Her breath caught in her throat. Right, of course. She tried to smile again, but it couldn't hide the panic that had slowly begun to creep into her expression. Why was she so scared? Why did the idea of me having someone make her react like that? Did she think I came back to take revenge? Did she think I wanted to ruin her life the way she once ruined mine? Did she think I had something to reveal? Guilt creates its own shadows. And right now Sarah was sitting inside one. I'm happy for you, she said suddenly, too quickly. I didn't respond. How long have you known this person? She added. Long enough, I said. She swallowed. Long enough for what? To build a life, I answered. She inhaled sharply, as if those words pierced something inside her. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You built a life? Yes. Her eyes filled with a kind of pain I didn't fully understand. Pain mixed with fear, regret, and disbelief. It was like the ground beneath her had shifted, and she wasn't sure how to stand anymore. I didn't think... Her voice trembled. She stopped, tried again. I didn't think you could move on. A small smile tugged at my lips. I know, I said. You counted on that. She froze. Her face lost color. She didn't expect me to say that out loud. She started. I cut her off gently. Sarah, you don't have to explain. But I want to, she insisted, panic now clear in her tone. I want you to know that I didn't mean to hurt you the way I did. I looked at her, calm and quiet. You thought I would stay broken, I said. Her eyes widened. You thought I would stay behind you, I continued. That you could take my life, and I would never find another one. I didn't, she whispered helplessly. But she did. We both knew she did. She opened her mouth again, but I lifted my hand slightly, stopping her. It doesn't matter now, I said softly, because I didn't stay broken. A tear slipped down her cheek. She wiped it quickly, pretending it wasn't there. I didn't feel satisfaction. I didn't feel triumph. I just felt free in a way I never thought I could be, sitting across from the woman who once destroyed me, and feeling nothing but calm. But beneath Sarah's fear, beneath her questions, beneath the trembling of her hands, something else hid in the shadows. A secret, a truth she didn't want me to find. And the closer the time came for the person I was waiting for to walk through that door, the more terrified she became, as if she already knew when the truth finally arrived. Everything she built on my pain, every lie, every choice, every stolen piece of my life, was about to collapse, and she couldn't stop it. Sarah kept glancing at the cafe door as if it was a ticking bomb. Every time the bell above it made the slightest sound, her shoulders jumped. Her coffee had gone cold, untouched. Her hands wouldn't stay still. And I knew why. Because she wasn't just nervous. She was terrified. She felt something coming. Something she couldn't control. Something she couldn't twist into her version of the truth. For the first time in her life, she was sitting inside a moment she didn't own. I watched her silently, letting the tension grow in the space between us. You're quiet, I said softly. Her eyes flicked up. I'm just thinking. About what? Her throat tightened. About you, about this, about everything. I nodded once. Good. She swallowed hard, surprised by my calmness. Maybe she expected anger, or accusations, or old wounds thrown back at her. But none of that came. I had no need to fight anymore. The doorbell chimed, a soft sound, but it made her jolt like lightning had struck the table. I didn't turn around immediately. I didn't have to. I felt the shift in the air, a familiar presence, warm, calm, solid. Footsteps approached, slow, steady, confident. Sarah finally looked toward the door, and I saw the exact moment the truth hit her. Her face drained of all color, her lips parted but no sound came out. Her fingers froze around her cup. Then a man's voice spoke behind me, deep, steady, warm. Sorry I'm late. Traffic was worse than I expected. I turned with a soft smile. He stood there, tall, composed, dressed in a dark blue coat still sprinkled with rain. His eyes found mine instantly, and warmth lit his face. He leaned down and kissed the top of my head gently, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Lunch after this? He asked softly. Yes, I said. His hand rested on my shoulder in a way that said everything without needing words. Partnership, respect, love. A bond earned slowly, honestly, without stealing or lying. Sarah stared at us as if her world had tilted sideways. Her voice cracked. You're with someone. You're actually with him? He turned toward her, offering a polite, neutral smile. The kind people give strangers, not family. Hello, Sarah, he said. Her breath hitched. Daniel. His name fell from her lips in shock. Of course she knew him. Everyone in this town knew him. The lawyer, The one with a quiet reputation, steady work, a kind smile. The one who'd always been gentle with everyone, including me, even when I had nothing to give back. But Sarah had never imagined him with me. Not him. Not someone stable, not someone respected, not someone who could stand beside me without comparing me to her, not someone who would choose me willingly, openly, fully. She stuttered, "You two, together? Since when?" Daniel let out a small breath, almost amused. "A little over 5 years." She stared at me in disbelief. "5 years? You've been with him for 5 years?" I nodded. Her eyes widened, shock filling them like rising water. "You moved on that fast?" she whispered, voice trembling. "You built another life." "That quickly?" I tilted my head, studying her. "Quickly? Sarah? You took my husband while I was still married to him. You expected me to crawl for years." My voice was soft, but it cut like glass. "You expected me to break forever." Her lips shook. I wasn't thinking." "Yes," I said quietly. "You were." Daniel's hand slid gently down my back, supportive, grounding. His presence alone made Sarah's panic deepen. She kept looking between us, like she was trying to understand a puzzle that didn't fit her script. "You didn't tell me," she said shakily. "You never called. You never said anything. You lost the right to my life," I replied. "You don't get updates." Her breath left her in a shaky rush. "And what are you doing here?" she whispered. "In this cafe?" Before I could answer, Daniel spoke instead. "She didn't come to see you," he said gently. "We were meeting for lunch. I just got delayed." Sarah blinked, hard. The truth settled in her like a stone sinking in water. I hadn't returned to confront her. I hadn't come back to ask questions, or dig up old stories, or cry about the past. My life had moved forward. She was the only one still trapped in the old version of me. The realization broke something inside her. "I thought you were alone," she whispered, barely audible. "I thought life ruined you." I looked at her, calm and steady. "That's because you needed to believe that." Her eyes filled with tears, but not soft ones. These were sharp, cold, shocked tears. Daniel remained quiet beside me, letting me lead the moment. He knew this wasn't his story to tell. Sarah's voice shook. "I don't understand. Why are you back then? Why today?" A small smile touched my lips. Not cruel, not vengeful, just true. "Because today," I said softly. "Daniel had a meeting at the courthouse here. I came with him, that's all." Her mouth fell open. "You didn't come because of me?" she asked in a broken whisper. "No. And you didn't come to talk about the past?" "No." She let out a sound, half laugh, half cry, as if she couldn't believe the simplicity of it. "We ran into each other by accident?" she whispered. "Yes." Silence dropped between us again, heavy, painful, undeniable. Not planned, not dramatic, not a confrontation, just an accident, a moment that revealed everything without trying. She wasn't the center of my world anymore. She wasn't even a piece of it, and that was the deepest revenge life could have ever given me. Sarah leaned back slowly, as if the truth had drained the strength from her body. "So you didn't come to show off?" "No." "You didn't come to hurt me?" "No." She swallowed hard. "Then why does this hurt so much?" I looked at her, and for the first time in years, I finally understood something. Because she had built her happiness on my unhappiness. Because she needed me broken to feel whole. Because she needed to believe she had won. And now she was realizing she never won anything. She only lost me. "I'm not here to hurt you," I said softly. "But the truth hurts by itself." Her tears finally fell. "I thought I took everything from you," she whispered. "You did," I said. "But I rebuilt. Without you, without him, without the past." "And him?" She nodded toward Daniel, voice barely steady. "Does he know everything?" Daniel squeezed my shoulder gently. "Yes, every part." "And he stayed?" she asked, stunned. He looked at her kindly. "She's stronger than you think." Sarah closed her eyes, letting the pain wash through her. Not because I insulted her. Not because I fought her. But because I didn't. My peace was the thing she couldn't handle. Because she no longer had control over me. Over my story. Over my heart. When she opened her eyes again, there was defeat in them. A quiet, painful defeat. "I always thought you would stay the weak one," she admitted in a broken voice. "I thought you wouldn't know how to live without him." "I learned," I said gently. "And I learned well." "And what about him?" she whispered. "Your ex?" "I don't think about him," I said simply. "He's your problem now." Her face cracked, the truth cutting deeper than any revenge I could plan. Because I wasn't jealous. I wasn't bitter. I didn't want him back. I didn't want her life. I didn't want anything from her. And that was the real victory. Daniel touched my arm. "Ready to go?" "Yes." I stood, picking up my coat. Sarah remained seated, staring down at her hands as if they were empty. As if she finally saw what she had done with her life. Before leaving, I paused beside her. She looked up, eyes red, expression shattered. "You didn't lose because I won," I said softly. "You lost because you gave up everything real for something that never lasted." Her lips trembled. "I wish I could go back." "You can't," I said, "but you can sit with what you chose." Her tears fell harder now, but I didn't reach out to comfort her. She had comforted herself with my pain for too long. I walked toward the door where Daniel waited, warm and steady, as we stepped out into the fresh, rain-washed air. I felt something inside me finally lift. Not anger, not triumph. Peace. Behind me, inside the cafe, I heard the soft, broken sound of someone realizing their own downfall wasn't caused by anyone else, but by themselves. And the door closed gently behind us. A final line settled in my mind. Quiet. True, full of everything I didn't need to say aloud. I didn't come back to win. I came back to show I already had.